Is this it for LeBron James? Is LeBron never going to win another NBA championship? Although LeBron has had an amazing career and continues to play at a very high level, some are questioning whether LeBron will ever win another NBA championship, at least with him being the best player on the team. But quickly before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports, I make opinionative NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. It's been no secret that LeBron James has been one of the best players in the NBA for some time now, and before that, he was the best player in the NBA for a very long time. But at this stage of LeBron's career, at 37 years old, the level of play that he has been showing as of late has just been incredible to watch. The fact that he's playing this well at 37 years old is just crazy to think about, and honestly, I would say not only is he still playing at a very high level, but he's probably around 80 to 85% of what he used to be at his prime, at least in my opinion, so he's still relatively similar to what he was able to do in the past. I would probably say the biggest difference between LeBron now and LeBron a few seasons ago is the defense. It's been no secret that ever since LeBron got to the Lakers, and especially this previous season, that he's been known to take off possessions defensively in order to save that energy on the offensive side, or really just save that energy as a whole for the playoffs. Which of course does make sense, as LeBron obviously, as I said, is 37 years old, but that's probably the biggest difference in my opinion. In terms of his hops, I would say they're probably exactly the same as they used to be, maybe slightly worse, but you can barely even tell. Offensively, I would argue that he's even become a better three-point jump shooter than he was in the past. His mid-range jump shot is as good or maybe even better than it was in the past. His driving and finishing ability, I would say, is on par of what it used to be in the past. Of course, he still has a capability to get those crazy posterizing dunks. He also has a really nice ability to finish through contact once driving all the way to the basket, or finish around players with crafty layups, finishing either with his left or right hand. His passing and playmaking ability is still phenomenal, of course, and it's only gotten better as the seasons did progress. He runs a pick and roll with AD phenomenally, or the pick and pop. Obviously, he can run an offense whenever he wants to. He has one of the best basketball IQs in the NBA, and overall, I would still say at this late stage of LeBron's career, he's still a phenomenal talent, and in my opinion, he still could be one of the best, if not the best players on a championship team. And the fact that LeBron is still playing at such a high level is really a testament of what he's been able to do to take care of his body over the years. And the fact that LeBron does spend $1 million on his body each and every season is obviously paying off, although it might sound crazy to some. So a question that some of you may be asking is, after all the positive things that I did say about LeBron and the fact that he's still playing at such a high level and he might be able to be the best or one of the best players on a championship winning team, why do I personally not think LeBron will be able to win another championship for the rest of his career, at least as being the best player on that team? Well, there's a few different reasons for why I say that, but probably the first and main reason why I don't think LeBron will win another NBA championship, at the very least with him being the main player on that team, is due to the fact that the Lakers aren't really a good team at all. Now, of course, this previous season, the Lakers completely missed the playoffs and even missed the play-in as well, and although LeBron was playing at a relatively high level this previous year, he just wasn't getting all that much help. Of course, Anthony Davis is still a very talented player and clearly a superstar type guy, but he's dealing with a ton of injuries and he didn't necessarily provide the most help last year. Russell Westbrook was basically a disaster. Some of the other supplementary players on the team didn't play all that well, I would say. And of course, you could make the argument that maybe during this offseason that the Lakers would make a trade or two, or maybe sign some players in free agency and make the Lakers better as a team, which certainly could happen, and I'd probably say will happen, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think the Lakers would be able to take a jump significant enough from the point where they are at now to a point where they would be legitimate championship contenders. Now, of course, I could be wrong, and hopefully for the Lakers' sake and for LeBron's sake, I am wrong, and they are able to compete for an NBA championship next year, but I just personally don't see that happening. And if that doesn't happen, and if LeBron is still playing at this very high level, and he's nowhere near an NBA championship at this this point, I really find it difficult to believe that he ever will be able to. Now, another reason why I don't think LeBron will win another NBA championship for the rest of his career is due to the fact that the NBA as a whole has also gotten a lot better. When you just talk about teams in the Western Conference like the Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies, Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, all those teams that I just listed, I would definitely favor in a playoff matchup against the Lakers. But even when you look at the Eastern Conference, you talk about the Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, Brooklyn Nets, even the Philadelphia 76ers to an extent, all those teams I would also favor over the Lakers in a potential playoff matchup. So I just think the level of competition that has been arising as of late just makes it that much more difficult for the Lakers to win an NBA championship relatively soon, which would need to be the case for LeBron to win an NBA championship while being the best player on that team. So that's another reason why I don't necessarily think LeBron will win another NBA championship for the rest of his career. Now, the last and final reason why I don't necessarily think LeBron will win an NBA championship is due to something that I mentioned before, and that's his defense. So before in the video, I did mention that LeBron doesn't necessarily play the best defense anymore, mostly due to the fact that he's saving himself either for the offensive end or he's saving himself for the playoffs. But if the Lakers were to make it to the playoffs, LeBron would need to play a certain level of defense just to get there. But let's just say for the sake of the video that the Lakers were able to make it to the playoffs. Once you're in the playoffs, LeBron is certainly going to need to play a certain level of defense in order to move on in the playoffs. And let's say for the sake of the video that he is able to do that and the Lakers do move on, let's just say to the NBA Finals, for example. But the question at that point would be, did LeBron James burn himself out to the point where in the NBA Finals he wouldn't necessarily be able to play the same level of defense that he was in the previous rounds of the playoffs, or would he be able to continue on with that tough defense that he did play? Now, in my opinion, the fact that he is saving himself during the regular season kind of tells you that if he were to go all out throughout the entire playoffs, he probably would be burnt out to an extent in the finals if they were to make it there, obviously. And if that were to be the case, it would just be very difficult for the Lakers to win. So obviously everything that I mentioned in this video is my personal opinion, and of course LeBron still could end up winning another NBA championship in the rest of his career. I just don't personally think it's overly likely that that will be the case. But in my opinion, if that were to happen, I would probably have to say that either a major trade would need to happen for the Lakers or LeBron would need to move on to another team. But nonetheless, whatever does end up happening with LeBron James's career, one thing that I could say confidently is I'm very excited to see how LeBron plays for the rest of his career, and I'm also definitely cherishing the rest of LeBron's career because clearly he's one of the greats, and in my opinion, he's the second greatest player of all time. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think LeBron James will win another NBA championship in the rest of his career, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these two videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out, guys.